A lot of people were wondering what it was going to be like if the Astros didn't win the division. I guess we'll never know.
Who do you think you are? I am!
Welcome back to Banging the Can, the Houston sports show that does not apologize for championship rings and tings, presented by Bolen Media. I am Ross Bolen, and what did I tell you? What did I say all season long? Wait until the end. Wait until it's over. Wait and see what happens. Stop using all this negative energy and negativity on a team that has proven time and again that they show up and get it done when it matters most. And what happened? The Houston Astros, once again, for the 7th time in as many years, make the postseason. The Houston Astros, once again, win the West. Division champions. Easiest possible path back to the American League Championship Series. We will play the winner of the Toronto Blue Jays and Minnesota Twins wildcard series, facing off against either George Springer or Carlos Correa in the ALDS, which will be good fun. Then after we smoke whichever of those two teams, will take on either the 101-win Baltimore Orioles, or if we're really lucky, which at the moment it appears we are, the Arlington Rangers or Tampa Bay Rays, who will meet in the wild card round for the chance to play Baltimore. We get 5 full days of anxiety-free chillin'. Get to set our preferred pitching rotation for the ALDS and get to hang another division championship banner. Life is good, Astros fans. The golden era continues. I still can't believe it, honestly. I'm still a little bit in shock. It's still setting in. Going into the last week of the season, I was mentally preparing myself for a wild card berth, which is, as we all know, an incredibly stressful experience. I did not want to do it. The 3-game series thing, it's just too much. Anything can happen. It's like a coin flip. You don't want to put yourself in that position, especially when you've got a roster that's as stacked as this roster. I just didn't feel like that was where we deserved to be, rightfully. And we had a miserable month. A miserable final month of baseball. September was incredibly disappointing. There is no way around that fact. We choked all of our opportunities away against the Royals and the Athletics, 2 100-loss teams. We looked like ass out there, played like shit. Our fan base was reeling on the verge of psychosis. Some of you were melting down like I've never seen before. Irrational non-believers were calling for Dusty Baker to be shot into outer space. I mean, we were in a truly, truly awful place. And in the end, the Seattle Mariners and Arlington Rangers choked just a little bit harder. And in the end, when it came down to that final series of the season, we pulled it together. It will forever be funny. Forever. That the day both the Astros and Rangers clinched a postseason spot, the Astros did a simple champagne toast and then got back to business, while the Rangers raged balls and then played the final game of their season hungover as shit. So the highest scoring team in baseball this season, the Arlington Rangers, produced 0.0 runs in their final game to hand the division back to its rightful owners, our Houston Astros. Straight up storybook irony. Hollywood-level comedy. I almost feel bad for Rangers fans, but frankly, look, let's give the Rangers their props too. They had a fantastic regular season. They're probably a full year in front of where everyone expected them to be rebuild-wise, so they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Still a terrible, dumbass way to lose the division, but they'll be fine. Idiots. And to be clear, we are the best team in the AL West. There is no doubt, okay? And had things not gone horribly awry most of the season for the Astros, losing 2 starting pitchers in Luis Garcia and Lance McCullers Jr. for the year, losing Kade for a huge chunk of time, losing Altuve and Alvarez for big stretches. Altuve missed 72 games. 72 games. Yordan missed 48 games. Like, if all of that nonsense doesn't occur, this is a 100-win team still, no doubt. We still won 90 games in the most ass-backward, bad luck, terribly frustrating season in this golden era of Astros baseball. 90 wins in the least enjoyable regular season in 7 years. That's where we're at. We should all be thanking God each morning and night when we pray for this team. We should also be apologizing to some people in this franchise who took what I repeatedly stated was an unnecessary amount of heat all season long. Dusty Baker, no more questioning him. You're all cut off. You're done. If you're a Dusty doubter, shut up. Get out. It's over. I went over the list of terrible shit that happened, unfortunate events, over and over during the past month to try to calm people down. I'm stating it again today, just to reiterate. Like, we won 90 games. We would have been a 100-win team. But we lost a lot of incredibly important players. Being down 3 starters to begin the season in that first month, being down Altuve, losing Yordan for stretches, and y'all wanted to go after Dusty, it just never made sense. Were there elements of the season that were handled in a way that didn't seem to be all that logical? Yeah, but the results speak for themselves, and we're at the point where you can't question the results anymore. We still won the division. We still ended up in the 2 seed. Worst regular season in 7 years. Not really because of Dusty, was it? Mostly bad luck shit. Mostly health shit. Still win the division. Still end up with the 2 seed. Still get a bye. Still get to chill for 5 days. Still get to set our own rotation. What? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here? Dusty Baker is great at his job. It's not just about lineup tinkering. It's about keeping guys plugged in, keeping their heads screwed on straight as the wheels are falling off the bus, keeping the bus going forward, or the train, or plane, or whatever analogy you need to plug into your brain to make it make sense and stop acting insane. Dusty Baker is a god. We should be washing his feet, not talking about how he needs to be fired after this season no matter what. Y'all are, it was never rational to me. I never understood it. You don't bash your manager, your future Hall of Fame manager, fresh off a World Series win. You owe him an apology if you were one of those people. He kept the team in the race the whole season, even as thing after thing after thing went wrong. Say sorry to Dusty Baker. And then say sorry to Jose Abreu. And I'll join you here. I tried to stay on the Jose Abreu bandwagon as long as I could. I tried to trust in Jeff Bagwell's word that when push came to shove, Abreu would get the job done. And after a few months there, I couldn't do it anymore. And at some point in September, I was like, all right, that's enough. Bump him down in the lineup. Why is he batting 5th? It doesn't make any sense. And Jose, I'm sorry. Mr. Abreu, my bad. I doubted. I'm ashamed. I should have maintained. But I failed. And now I'm back. Because when push came to shove, Jose Abreu got the fucking job done, didn't he? Didn't he? He drove in all 3 runs that we scored in the first 2 games of the final series of the year to secure a postseason spot single-handedly. Single-handedly. I wanted to bump him to 7. Some of you wanted him off the team. And when it came down to it, he's the guy who got it done with the bat when we needed it most, when literally no one else did. 3 runs in 2 games, the most important 2-game stretch in the season, inarguably, so that we even had a chance on Sunday to win the division. Jose Abreu, I am sorry. And if you were one of the people who attacked him all season long, you deserve to give him an apology. He deserves your apology too. Jose Abreu, can't wait to see what he does in October. I can't wait, or the rest of October. He still looked locked in yesterday. Another person we owe an apology to, Jeremy Pena. I said it at the beginning of the season, and then I kind of stopped paying attention to Pena, frankly, because he's always been a good enough shortstop. And we weren't really looking for him to be like a leader offensively. And we know that when it comes to October and when it comes to crunch time, Jeremy Pena gets the job done. He won MVP of everything he could have won MVP of in the postseason last year. Just last year. There was last year. Some of you seem to misunderstand this. There was last year, right, where we won the World Series. Then there was nothing, and then this year. It was not like there was a down year in between or like some horribly disappointing event. Last year we won the World Series. Jeremy Pena crushed ALDS and ALCS and World Series MVP. Then there's this year where we won the division, and now we're headed into the postseason again starting on October 7th, Saturday. So Pena, still Jeremy Pena. Like, I expected at some point that he would turn it on. And he did. He made a play at short that kept us in the division race in the last series of the season. It looks like he's got his bat turned back on. And through it all, even through the slump with the bat this season, he's kept that swagger that we need him to have as one of the future leaders of this franchise. So we all owe Jeremy Pena an apology too. And then finally, and certainly not least, last on my list, but not least, we owe Martin Maldonado a gigantic round of applause and a smattering of apologies. He gunned down 2 runners in 2 huge moments in the final series of the season that kept us where we needed to be. He wasn't doing that much this year, admittedly. I didn't see him throw a lot of guys out at second base. He didn't catch a lot of runners. We had a weird season with pitchers, and a lot of that got pinned on Maldi, not rightfully so. It got pinned on Maldi, it got pinned on Dusty, and it wasn't right then, and it's not right now, and everybody needs to say sorry, and I'll say it too. Like, Yainer Diaz, yes, the future. Yes, Yainer Diaz, great at hitting. Much better than Maldonado. Nobody's going to argue otherwise. Nobody. Not even Maldi. But when it comes down to it, which guy do you want out there leading? You want Maldi. You want him calling the games. You want him giving the pitchers confidence. You want him managing the defense, essentially. He's like the defensive coordinator. If you're a football person and need a term you can understand, that's what Maldonado does for this franchise, and he was great in the final series of the season that got us back to where we need to be, where we should be, where we expect to be. Maldonado was a huge part of that, and there is no denying it. He tied his home run amount for last season, too. It's not like people need to come to terms with what this guy brings to the field. Some of the incalculable, not statistics-driven value that he provides, and apologize for disrespecting that man. Because when push came to shove, he got it done. So, the most spoiled franchise in baseball over the last 7 seasons remains spoiled in the most hysterical fashion possible, with the division title falling into our laps on the last and final day. Now, it's time to mentally prepare for the postseason. But first, let's acknowledge some of the other most important and impressive performances that got us here. I think this guy is probably my MVP for the regular season on the Astros. This next person I'm going to say their name and talk about deserves so much credit, more than I can give him here today, because I don't have the time. But Mauricio Dubon, sir, well done. What a year this guy had. Unbelievable. Played several different positions. Held it down, by the way, at second base. That whole 72 games that Altuve missed. Was probably our most consistent offensive weapon throughout the entire year. Consistent. Not the best. Not the most RBIs. Not the most home runs. But consistently, you could trust Mauricio Dubon at the plate. He didn't go through long slumps. He never puts his head down. He's always got a good attitude. He's always making funny faces. He's wildly entertaining. You need that guy. You need a guy who's always having fun no matter how fucking poorly things are going. And Mauricio Dubon was that for the Houston Astros this year. And this is a guy that in the first month of the season, I kept having to go, wait, who the hell is that? I didn't even remember that he existed. And then he became, like I said, probably, maybe the most important person on the roster this regular season. He was the constant. He was like the heartbeat. I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy we have him. God, Mauricio Dubon rules. Definitely one of the most important performances of the regular season, Mauricio Dubon. Then, of course, there's Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker. 30-30 season, still possible. He's petitioning that inside the park home run he had that was scored a triple, and then it was scored an inside the park home run, and then it was scored a triple, and they changed it like 4 times in 45 minutes in that last game of the season. Long story short, he stole his 30th base. His 30th home run should have been an inside the park home run that is currently ruled a triple. He's petitioning it. We'll see what happens. But Tucker stayed healthy this year. He got the job done this year. He did what he always does. He's Kyle Tucker. He's King Tuck. He's phenomenal. He's great. And he was that way all year long. If you were going to say, no, it's not Mauricio Dubon who was the most consistent player all season long, it's probably Kyle Tucker. Tuck rules. Still. Justin Verlander. Man. He came in, and look, I think we all expected, JV is JV, but also in 2022, he wasn't great in the postseason. He certainly seemed like he'd lost a step, if you will. And the last few starts he had here, he was nails. He was great. He shaved years off his career. He looked phenomenal. Very sharp. And that bodes well going into the postseason, obviously. But JV picking him up at the trade deadline for 2 guys who I've already forgotten their names, by the way. Don't care. Farm system, don't care. Doesn't matter. Look where we are now. Justin Verlander was a big part of that. Big part of that. I think in a year where we saw so much go wrong on the bump, to bring him in, have him as a part of the clubhouse, veteran leadership, culture setter, a guy who doesn't settle for losing, I think that shifted things enormously for us in ways that we will never know because we won't have to see the alternative reality where Justin Verlander doesn't rejoin this team. Thank God for him. JP France, speaking of all the pitching issues we had this year, JP France came in and held it down. JP France came in and did more than I would have ever expected him to do. And he did it while looking like a character from Major League, which to me makes it twice as cool. JP France rules, JP France forever. And if you're one of the morons who gave him shit because he missed his final start of the regular season because his wife was in the hospital, you can go fuck yourself. What a badass. And obviously huge props to Kade for stepping in and taking that start on 0 notice, waking up in the morning thinking, I'm going to be sitting in the bullpen, and then finding out, oh shit, I have to start this game. Kade got the job done. He got the job done. But JP France all season long plugged one of the massive holes in our pitching rotation. He was more consistent than Christian Javier. He was more consistent than Framber Valdez. Consistent. JP France, huge this year. And then there's Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman doesn't get enough credit. Not even close. I said it earlier this year, but there's not a guy in the American League you would prefer to have at third base more than Alex Bregman. He was great. He was great. He's not cocky Breggs from 2018, 2017, but he's still Alex Bregman. He was awesome. Huge with runners in scoring position. One of the most efficient batters in the league. Incredible on-base percentage. He sees the ball out of the pitcher's hand better than almost anyone I've ever seen. He's great. He's locked in every at-bat. He draws walks like nobody's business. He makes very solid contact when he swings at the ball. Alex Bregman. Still Alex Bregman, it turns out. And then last person I want to give props to, Hector Neris. Holy shit. When he came in with a bases loaded situation and pretty much the season on the line, as it felt like the season was on the line constantly for 2 weeks straight, I still can't believe he didn't give up a run. I still can't believe that was just heart of a lion. What? Eye of the tiger. Hector Neris. Him, Brian Abreu. We've got guys in that bullpen that probably don't get their due and proper credit around the league, that are among the best at their jobs. And our bullpen, like the starting pitching thing was a nightmare, up and down, up and down. Holy shit, who's healthy, who's not? The bullpen held it down all year long. Presley had a couple of rough spots here and there, but Ryan Presley is still America's closer. And then you've got all these other guys, these middle relievers, the only one of which who didn't even participate in last year's postseason that I hope will pull it together is Phil Maton. Hopefully he'll do good this postseason. Hopefully we got him in there too. Montero pulled it together in the last, fourth of the season to at least a place where he's respectable enough to not just want to kill yourself when he goes out of the bullpen onto the mound. We've got enough guys. We've got the chance to do what nobody outside of this fan base wants us to do. And it's because a lot of that credit goes to those names I just listed. I'm just so happy, man. I'm so happy for the squad. For Jim Crane, for Dusty Baker, for the boys, for the city. I tried to be this is probably the best job I've done of avoiding pessimism as a sports fan in any season in my 36 years on Earth. And that last month, September, it got really challenging to maintain the positivity, to keep bringing the good vibes. I was worried. For the first time in a long time, I was worried about this team. And I did not want to see Arlington fans celebrating a division championship. I just didn't want to see it. It doesn't feel right. That's not the world I want to live in. And it's not the world I have to live in, it turns out. I'm very thankful for that. You all should be too. We did it. we somehow, against all improbability, we did it again. We won the division again. I can't believe we got the 2 seed. I can't believe we get a bye. I'm so stoked. ALDS starts on Saturday, October 7th. You got 5 days to regain composure, okay? Between now and then, get your head screwed on straight, positive vibes only. Get ready to rock Minute Maid Park because God knows we weren't good there during the regular season. But, as Breggy said, the playoffs are a different animal entirely. The only thing that matters now is October. And I have been to Minute Maid in October many times over the past 7 years. The vibes are always immaculate. The energy in that building is impressive. This year, they need it more than any of the 6 that preceded it. Because this was not a good team at home. I think they got so used to playing with all that animosity and all the booing on the road, fueling them to victory time and again. Great team on the road. So much so that a lot of people were arguing like, well, we should just be a wild card team. That way we have more road games than home. First of all, I understand the thinking, all right, but that's ridiculous. You want 5 days off. You want to be able to set your own pitching rotation, and then you have to keep in mind October is different. It's different. You wipe the slate clean. What happened in the regular season happened in the regular season. It's gone. Now it's time. There's nothing like that shift from regular season baseball to postseason baseball, the difference in pressure. It will exist every game. So I don't think they'll have to be searching for it as much, like they clearly had some type of World Series hangover on top of all the injuries and everything else that happened over the course of the season so that we sucked ass at home. I'm not that worried about it, but even still, as fans, it's our job. Go into the postseason, rock Minute Maid. Loud as you can. Bring the energy. That's the job of a fan. Root for your team. I think we can all admit this fan base was a little shaky in 2023. A lot of doubters, a lot of negativity, a lot of pessimism. I wasn't one of you. Hand up. I'm a hero. But I'm just saying, going into this Saturday and next week, I would like it, and I'm sure the team would too, if that place was rocking like never before, no matter who the fuck we end up playing. October is here. The only thing that matters is now. Just win. 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 Go Astros. God bless Houston. Fuck the haters and the doubters. This is our fucking division, and we are still the defending champion Houston Astros. One thing about Houston that you better make peace with if you want to survive: it is freaking hot most of the year, and if you don't dress accordingly, you will die accordingly. Fortunately, Bird Dogs will have you looking good and feeling good all summer and season and fall and winter long in the most comfortable and versatile shorts, pants, and bathing suits in the entire world. Today's episode is brought to you by Bird Dogs. I've been wearing Bird Dogs for several years now. I have a dresser drawer occupied entirely by Bird Dogs. I'm a dad now. They're probably the greatest dad shorts in the entire world as well. I wear them to do everything. I wear them to sleep, to do yard work, to work out, to record podcasts, to go swimming. They fit great. They feel great. They look great. They're insanely comfortable, and they come in a ton of different designs and colorways, all with funny names like the Art Fart Knockers, Duffy the Vampire Slayers, Uncle Bucks, Teddy Rubskins, Forest Pumps, Marco Pool Boys, Zero Dark 30s, Tight Wads. I could go on and on. You can check out the website and see all of them for yourself. If you want to look like money while you're working at the yard or swimming at the pool or out with friends at the bars, Bird Dogs are the move. And they've got great pants. They look like sharp slacks. You're going to look phenomenal. You're going to love the way you look, as they say. But they're incredibly comfortable. They're so comfortable, no one will have any idea how comfortable you are because you look so good in those Bird Dogs pants. Perfect for the golf course or the office or going out to dinner, enjoying the nightlife in Houston. Hashtag versatile. And now they've got great looking polo shirts as well that are just as comfortable as the shorts and pants. So click on the link in the description below to go to birddogs.com/BTC, as in banging the can, and enter code BTC at checkout. They'll throw in a free Bird Dogs tech hat with every order, like the one I'm holding in the palm of my hand. It's beautiful. It's a tech hat. It's got the Bird Dogs logo on it. Coincidentally, their colors match the Houston Astros. Isn't that something? birddogs.com/BTC. And when you check out, put in code BTC to get this Bird Dogs tech hat for free. That's birddogs.com/BTC, code BTC, to support the show and grab yourself some of the most comfortable, best looking shorts, pants, shirts in the world. Free hat. Check out birddogs.com/BTC, code BTC. As the other part of what made Sunday one of the best days in Houston sports history, our Texans beat the brakes off the Pittsburgh Steelers. We were all excited about this new era in Texans football. We were all hoping DeMeco Ryans would be able to redefine this franchise's culture fairly quickly. We were all cautiously optimistic that taking C.J. Stroud with the number 2 pick in the NFL draft might yield fairly immediate results in terms of offense, that Will Anderson Jr., as our number 3 pick in the NFL draft, might be a game wrecker eventually. But holy shit, I don't think anyone expected things to go this well, this quickly. And pump the brakes. I don't want us to get out ahead of ourselves, okay? After all, these are still the Texans. But as I said, after each of the first 3 games this season, the most important thing this season for us as Houston Texans fans is that we see progress, that we see growth, that we see a promising future on the horizon, right? And through 4 games, I'm not sure I could be more happy with the Houston Texans. 2-2 record aside, I feel like we've won all 4 games and the fucking lottery. Mostly, in large part, due to one C.J. Stroud. I'm just going to read you a chunk here from Yahoo Sports, from a column that came out today after CJ's performance against the Pittsburgh Steelers, okay? Through a 4-game measurement, Stroud's 1,212 passing yards are the second most in NFL history for a rookie, coming second to only Cam Newton's 1,386 during his epic debut with the Carolina Panthers in 2011. Arguably more impressive, Stroud has thrown 6 touchdowns against 0 interceptions despite playing behind a banged-up offensive line, not to mention a set of receiving options that most would rank in the lower third of the league. It all pales in comparison to what he has helped the Texans become the last 2 weeks, a viable threat to compete for the AFC South after toppling the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road in Week 3 and then returning to Houston to thump the Pittsburgh Steelers 30-6 on Sunday. Now, if you are currently considering touching yourself, please make sure you are not in the public eye, not in the workplace or at school. Be at home in the privacy of your home, somewhere where that is acceptable behavior, because I realize this is an arousing sentiment to take in. I'll continue reading from Yahoo Sports. It says, while it all amounts to a modest 2-2 start, the Texans have been elated internally to see Stroud take command this quickly, especially with their offensive line in some disarray and having to start a rookie on the road against the Baltimore Ravens in Week 1. Yet, through 4 games, what Houston's coaches and executives have seen is precisely what they believed they were drafting, namely an experienced and refined passer who could make all the necessary throws with accuracy, navigate the pocket, read defenses, and play poised football in the middle of an offense that's still under construction, period. Whew. I'm aroused. I mean, if you've watched every game, if you've been paying attention, the poise is really something to behold. This is a kid playing his first 4 games behind a very banged up offensive line. A whole bunch of backups. I think we're on our 3rd center at this point. At least 2 or 3 of the games we've played with 4 of 5 starting offensive linemen out, down, injured, unavailable, nowhere to be seen, and still these results. Obviously, there is a name that pops into our heads when we think of hype around a Houston quarterback. Deshaun Watson, I'll say it once and only once, and not since his arrival have we had this much reason to believe, this much to be excited about. And through 4 games, somehow, and I didn't think this was possible, somehow C.J. Stroud has been even more impressive, even more promising. I mean, what's he going to do when we have an offensive line? What's he going to do when we have a receiving core that people have actually heard of? What's he going to do then? The future is bright. Now, again, I'm not going to, go crazy and pretend like, oh, we're going to win the division and like do something in the playoffs. Like I don't think that's realistic. I don't think that's realistic. We might win the division. The AFC South is a shitstorm. Everybody knows that. It always has been and it always will be. Or maybe not. Maybe it won't be. Richardson looks good on the Colts, too. But just saying, for now, it still is, very clearly. It's a mud-slinging pit of disappointment and mediocrity. We might win the division, but realistically, there's no reason for us to get excited about like a potential playoff run or anything like that, especially with a non-existent O-line. The defense has done well. I have been impressed. Guys are flying to the ball. This brings me to my next point. DeMeco Ryans, holy crap. I mean, you can see the energy he has installed since his arrival. The attitude. And that's the other thing about CJ that's been so impressive. Every time I see an interview with him or read one of his quotes or hear a soundbite, he's saying exactly what I would hope the leader of this team would say. Same applies to DeMeco, but like with CJ, he's so young. So he's a kid. And he's saying the shit that winners say. He has a winner's mentality and attitude. He plays the game correctly, and he doesn't bitch and moan or make excuses. He just gets the fucking job done, and then he says the right shit. He's not cocky. He's not a moron. He's been great. That stupid fucking test that they use to measure quarterbacks' football competency or whatever that he scored terribly on, and as a result was passed over by the Carolina Panthers for Bryce Young. God bless that test. Thank you for that. But that test is fucking worthless. That doesn't determine anything. Look at what this kid has done. He's unbelievable. And he's saying the right stuff. He's the leader that we need. And so is DeMeco. Guys are flying to the football. That was for years and years. During the Bill O'Brien era and the 2 after it, didn't look like anybody wanted to be on the team, that they had any pride about the jersey they were putting on, about the city they were playing for, about any of that. They just looked miserable. It was miserable to watch. This has been the opposite of that. Even knowing, like, this year is a building year. This is about progress. Like, they're still going out, and you can see the effort and the energy on every single down. A lot of mistakes, a lot of weird penalties and shit. Yeah, because we're playing with a bunch of fucking backups and rookies. But the energy, the mentality is the correct one. And that's the most important thing to me. I want to see guys that look like they want to be there. That they appreciate the opportunity, that they're working as hard as they possibly could to produce a football product that doesn't make me ashamed of myself, which is what we've been dealing with. I'm could not be more happy with D'Amico Ryans, with C.J. Stroud. Will Anderson Jr. has been a beast so far. He's awesome. And then another group that needs a lot of credit here, the receiving corps. Again, like Nico Collins, Robert Woods, Tank Dell, these guys were not inspiring a whole bunch of like fantasy football managers to pick them up. Nico Collins looks like a fucking Pro Bowler. He had 7 receptions for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns yesterday. This is against the Steelers defense. Number 1 defense in the league going into yesterday in terms of sacks. CJ still found time in the pocket. He still hit Nico 7 times for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. But the way Nico is moving downfield, I'm like, who is this guy? What are we doing here? Tank Dell had kind of an off day. I almost felt like part of the Steelers' defensive plan was to take away Tank Dell, take away Robert Woods a little bit too, maybe. And Nico just said, all right, my time, my game, my turn. Holy shit, did he shine. But Nico Collins, Robert Woods, Tank Dell, getting it done, playing their hearts out. That's what we need. And the blocking from the receivers, too. Insanely impressive. We don't have much blocking on the O-line, but god damn, the receivers are doing it. Opening big-ass holes for each other. I mean, it has been a thing of beauty. It really has. I enjoyed watching the Texans again this week. I can't fucking believe it. I can't believe that almost as much as I can't believe that the Astros still won the division after that shitstorm of a season. But here we are. Here we sit. This is the reality that we live in. It's a nice one. I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it, if you can't tell. That will do it for today's show. Remember, every episode of Banging the Can is available on youtube.com/@bangingthecan if you would prefer to watch rather than just listen. youtube.com/@bangingthecan. Even if you are a podcast listening person, if you're just an audio guy or gal, I would appreciate it if you'd go to youtube.com/@bangingthecan and subscribe. It helps us grow the show. Thank you. And on that note, please share the most unapologetic Houston sports show in existence with your friends and family, your Houston sports buddies, the people you talk to. Retweet us on X. That doesn't sound right. On Twitter, the app formerly known as Twitter, on X. Share our stuff on Instagram. Do what you can. Help us out. Grow the show. Follow us on all the social media platforms. TikTok, @BangingTheCan on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Share our stuff. Tell your people. We're in the postseason. Astros postseason. The Texans, things are looking up. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to be happy about, a lot to enjoy together. Call the hotline. Call the Banging the Can hotline. What's the number? Nobody knows. I'm pulling it up now and trying to buy time while I do because I always forget to put the stupid number on the stupid rundown so that I'll have it here for you. And I'm doing a little dance and singing a little song right now. Well, hold on. I'm almost there. It could be, is it? Yes, it is. 888-203-2339. Call the hotline. It's a voicemail hotline. You don't have to talk to anybody. If you screw up, just hang up, call back. Give me your Texans takes, your Astros takes, your expectations for this MLB postseason, your expectations for this next few weeks of Texans football with very winnable games on the horizon. Remember, I keep saying 6 wins, success. Great success. 6 wins. That's all we need. We got 2 already. Maybe I should up that number to 8. But 3 winnable games coming up for the Texans. Astros postseason starts on Saturday, October 7th. Call the hotline, 888-203-2339. Share your takes. I'll take the best ones. I'll do another episode later in the week with hotline calls from 888-203-2339. That's 888-203-2339. Call in. Give me your take. Share it with the show. If it's great, you're on the air. Booyah. Also, support our sponsors. This week we have Bird Dogs. Click the link in the description below the episode on whatever platform you're absorbing it. birddogs.com/BTC. Code BTC at checkout. Free Bird Dogs tech hat with your order. That's how we make money and the show gets to exist. Support our sponsors, please. Thank you. Check out my media startup, Bolen Media, at bolenmedia.com. My comedy show, The Ross Bolen Podcast, available wherever you get Banging the Can. Follow us on social at Banging the Can. Follow me. I am Ross Bolen. Twitter and Instagram at WRBOLEN, at WRBolen. Be back later this week with hotline calls. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for supporting the show. I love doing this. It means a lot to me. Go Astros. Go Texans. Until next time, H-Town. Stay down.